Welcome back to my weekly Human Design Transit Report. And today is Monday, July 11th. The transit that we're currently in right now, I talked a lot about in the last week's transit report, so you can go and watch it here if you haven't had a chance to see it yet. This week, the transit changes on Wednesday, July 13th, and the sun is going to move into the gate 62, and the earth is going to move into the gate 61. Okay, let's get started. With the shift that happens on Wednesday, we're moving all the way from the root. So the last three transits that we had, all of those gates were down on the root center, which is all the way in the pelvis, right? It's down at the tailbone. It's all the way at the bottom of the spine. And this time we're going to move all the way up to the 61, which is right here on the head center. And then the 62 is over here on the throat center. So we're popping all the way up to the top of the chart with this particular transit. We might experience some tension this week between where the sun and the earth are. The earth is in the 61, which is the beginning of the knowing circuit. Like I said, it's right up here at the top of the head center. And in traditional human design, it's known as mystery. In quantum human design, is known as wonder. This gate is plugged directly into superconsciousness, and it's in the knowing circuit. The knowing circuit is highly intuitive. It's not logical, it's not rational, it's not linear, it's none of those things. It's just very, very intuitive. It's plugged right into the creative intelligence of the universe. And so the energy that's coming through here are epiphanies, insights, breakthrough ideas, out of the box perspectives. And it's designed to be different. It's designed to bring change. It is mutative. This is where the evolutionary impulse of humanity lies, is in individual circuitry in general and in the knowing circuit in particular. So this is a very kind of almost esoteric kind of an energy, but it's very strong and it has a lot to offer us, because in our world today, as you probably know, you've heard me talk about this before if you've been following my reports for any time at all, which is that we really need to be having breakthrough ideas that are coming through. We need to change our perspective. We've been very locked into a particular way of understanding the world for centuries now, millennia, really. And that way of being, which is about growth, it's about taking from the earth, it's about consuming and developing a consumer society and so on. All of that, we cannot continue to be growing and consuming the way that we have in the past. We have to change the way that we are showing up in our lives if our species is going to continue and if we are going to find ways to help heal and regenerate our planet, which we really need to do these days. And I think that the insights for that and the ideas for that are going to come through that knowing circuit. So pay attention during this week and grounding yourself really in a new sense of possibility, that you might have things that pop into your mind or into your awareness that are very different than what you're used to. It might be like, wow, I never really thought about things like that, or I never saw things in that way, or I was never really open to hearing that particular explanation or way of understanding reality before, but now I feel like it's coming to me. I'm seeing something different. And so my invitation to you is to really be open and to be grounding yourself in a new set of possibilities. And anytime you have that kind of mantra that goes on in your mind, like the reality is, whenever somebody says that to me, I'm like, whose reality is that my reality? Is that do we share that reality? I'm not 100% sure, because I actually do believe in magic, and I really do believe that we have a lot of support coming to us from non-physical, and that we live in multiple dimensions at the same time, and that we can be receiving insights and guidance and energy and compassion and awarenesses that are coming not through just our own human mind, but through our connection to the flow of life God, Goddess, all that is, and also from, I believe that there are many helpers and non-physical who are here to provide us with support as well. And so whatever your belief system is, whether you have angels that you work with, or you work with Jesus or Mary, or whoever it might be that you feel connected to. I know I love some of the Hindu gods and goddesses. I mean, we all have kind of our own orientation. And so this is not about telling you what your belief system should be in particular, but it is about really underscoring that we have access to, and we are part of a much bigger universe than just our physical reality, certainly, and what our human mind can immediately understand. And we're in a place where we are having to open up to decondition ourselves, to let go of the ways that we've been taught that life has to go, which actually aren't working so well anymore. So this is a really good time to be opening up and receiving that. And notice if you have a tendency maybe to reject things that you think, that's weird. It might be weird. Because we also have the 4323, which the nodes are still defining. And the 43 is the, genius freak gate. All of this is in that knowing circuit. And so you could be receiving some really different ways of understanding how life works, who you could be, how you could show up, what your relationships are like, what our relationship to our work in the world is, and so on. And the sun is lighting up the gate 62, which is over here on the throat. And in traditional human design, it's known as details. And in quantum human design, it's known as preparation. Now, the 62 is in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit. And so when I was saying earlier on that we might be experiencing a little tension, it's because this is in the logic circuit. And so the logic circuit is logical. It's linear. It's rational. It comes through that left brain. It's coming in through the left brain. It crosses over in the ajna and then comes down through that throat, goes out around the right side of the body and up through the central channel. So it is part of the collective circuitry. And it's much more about the totality or the big things. It's much more about infrastructure, for example, and really kind of looking at the big picture. And it has to do with all the different tribes. So in human design, we have individual circuitry, tribal circuitry, and then collective circuitry. And so if the individual circuitry is here to be different and here to bring change and is mutative and is that evolutionary impulse, the tribal energy picks up what the individual energy is bringing in and tries it out and sees, does this work? Is it feasible? And then once it's been tried out by that tribal circuitry, then it gets sent out into the collective, which is what collective circuitry is. And it gets tried again and tested. And so that's why we have the scientific method is in the logic circuit, right? Where we get an idea about something, we see a big picture, and then we're going to go and we're going to test it. And we're going to do that with a lot of different people in a lot of different places before we reach a conclusion to say that, oh yes, we think this is actually true. So that's what collective circuitry does more, particularly the logic circuit does that more. And so you can see where there might be some tension between, on the one hand, this individual circuitry, which is not designed to fit in at all. In fact, it's meant to be this forward thrusting kind of an energy. And this collective circuitry, which is like, well, we're gonna test it all. We're gonna see, does it make sense? Can we replicate it? Can we count it? Can we map it? Can we systematize it? And individual circuitry does not work that way at all. So if you feel any tension between those, my invitation to you is to see how can you get those energies to dance with each other, each bringing their own strengths and not attacking each other for what maybe their limitations are, which is definitely what can happen. And this certainly can happen because in our culture, left brain energy, logic, scientific method, all of that tends to be privileged over the more intuitive and the more knowing type of energy. And so we want to just make sure that we're not doing that. Now, the 62 It is this energy that it's receiving, as I said, it's receiving from that left brain, which we can have it be curiosity rather than doubt, okay, which is the quantum human design way of thinking it. Receiving in curiosity, having a new idea, like, oh, I'm so interested. So then that 62 is here receiving that energy, and it's saying, okay, what is this about? What are the details of that? What do I need to know about that? How do I need to prepare? Is there some preparation that's needed in order for me to be able to take this insight that has come in through the beginning of the logic circuit or the pattern circuit, and so that it can then come in and we can start working with it in the rest of the system? So the challenge with the 62 is it has a tendency to worry. Okay, it has a tendency to worry. It has a tendency to be concerned that it's not prepared enough, that it doesn't know all the details, that it's going to be caught out not knowing something that it needs to know. Because this, again, is kind of left brain, logical, analytical kind of energy. And so you want to be watching out for that if that is undermining you. And instead, being able to open up to the possibility that you will know what to do when the time is right, that you will know what you need to know when you need to know it, that you will be receiving the guidance that will help direct you at the time that you will need to have that guidance. So it's really an exercise in being able to develop your faith, to have some trust in the larger flow of life at this point. The thing is that, the left brain energy, and particularly that scientific method energy, tends to not have that kind of faith or that kind of trust. It tends to be more skeptical, play a little more devil's advocate, not want to just believe something, okay? Whereas that knowing circuit, that 61, is all about, wow, where did this idea come from? It's a state of wonder. It's a mystery. It's beautiful. It's dropping in from super consciousness, but we can't prove it. We can't test it. We can't know that it's absolutely true. Okay. And so you want to watch out for that. If that 61, that logical left brain energy is starting to discount that, the insights that come in through that 61, this is the negative thing that can get going here. Whereas if you're just grounding yourself in a deep sense of possibility and you're open to having new ideas coming in, and with that, you're going to be feeling like, I can prepare myself to be able to receive these insights, and then I'll know when it's the right time to act on them. I will receive the guidance to know how I need to prepare. I will get the inner impulse, and depending on your type and your strategy, you'll be getting information about how to move forward next. We do have an open head here, so there's going to be some pressure to be coming in, because we have this, energy coming in through the head, coming into the ajna, and then wanting to be expressed out through that throat. So that 62 is on the throat, and it wants to express, it wants to talk, it wants to manifest, it wants to activate. And again, we've got that 4323 still happening here. So you could feel a little tension between those as well, because we've got these two fully defined channels, one in the logic circuit and one in the knowing circuit. So the best thing I can say to you this week is to, write down some of the things that come to you. Maybe draw pictures of it, maybe sketch it or map it out, whatever it might be. And don't try to be too left brain about it. Be open to this possibility, and maybe even talk to other people. Ask them to share with you about what the things they've been receiving, because it's through our ability to do that we're going to find our way through the challenges that we have on our planet right now. Okay, that's my transit report for this week. Many blessings, much love.